This is going to be day 2 for adding and subtract rational expressions. It's nothing new, it's just a little more difficult, a few more steps maybe. Real quick, you don't have to write this down, I just want to remind you a little bit about factoring. When you have a trinomial and there's not a number in front of x squared, you find the factors of the number at the end. Factors of 12, 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. Check your sign rules, they're all the same and they're all negative. And you need the ones that equal -7. So this would factor down to x minus 3 and x minus 4. If you have a trinomial and there is a number in front of x squared, you're going to multiply the first times the last. So we would actually find the factors of 24. 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. Signs are different. Largest is positive, so the small one must be negative. And they need to equal 5. You cannot write it into parentheses now. You've got work still. Bring down your 2x squared, pull over your factors, minus 3x plus 8x, bring down your minus 12. Cut it in half, pull out an x, leaves you 2x minus 3, plus, pull out a 4, leaves you 2x minus 3. Remember that these must be the same. If they're not, check your work. So 2x minus 3 and x plus 4 would be your factors. The easiest one, factoring, but the one that we miss all the time because we're not used to it, is difference of squares. And x squared minus 4, they're both perfect squares, so you take their square roots and you add them and you subtract them. So this would become x minus 2 and x plus 2. It does not matter which one is first. Okay, so thinking back to yesterday, when you're adding one, you've got to find a common denominator. So I'm going to write the x minus 2 down from the first one. Look at the second one, x minus 2 is already there, so I'm not going to write it again. And x plus 2 has to get added. Now I'm ready to compare. My first fraction is missing x plus 2. My second fraction is all good because the same thing is in it as what is in the common denominator. So just put a 1 to remind myself that I have checked it. So distribute x plus 2 times 1 and you get x plus 2. Plus 4 times 1 is 4. Don't forget to combine your like terms. X plus 6 over x minus 2 and x plus 2. Always check here and see if you can factor or if you can pull anything out of like the top, but we can't, so we're done here. Okay, so now looking at your notes handout. The first one, you're going to find your common denominator. Take your first one, write it down, n plus 1. Look at your second one. Is it already written down? No, it's not, so you're going to add it. Now you're ready to compare. The first denominator is missing n minus 7. The second denominator is missing n plus 1. So n minus 7 times 7n is going to give you 7n squared minus 49n. 8 times n plus 1 is going to be plus 8n plus 8. So this becomes 7n squared minus 49 plus 8 is going to be minus 41n plus 8 all over n plus 1. Sorry, let me rewrite that. N plus 1 and n minus 7. Now, you've got to look at the top up here and say, can I factor it? 7 times 8 is 56. 1 and 56. 2 and 28. 4 and 14. 7 and 8. Signs are the same. They're all negative. And it's got to equal negative 41. And nothing does. So that's your answer. You get to stop there. But you've got to check just in case. So looking at the next one. Common denominator. I'm going to bring down my x plus 1. I'm going to look over here. X plus 2 needs to be added down here. So I'm going to compare, and I am missing x plus 2. And on this one, I am missing x plus 1. If it's in the common denominator, but it's not in your denominator, it's missing, and you write it up above. So x plus 2 times 4 is going to give me 4x plus 8. Now you got to be careful because on this one it's like you're distributing a negative 2. So minus 2x minus 2. So 4x minus 2x is 2x. 8 minus 2 is plus 6. All over x plus 1 and x plus 2. You got to notice 2x plus 6, you can pull a 2 out. Pull out a 2 and it leaves you x plus 3 over x plus 1 and x plus 2. Okay, these 2's will not cancel because x plus 2 is protected. It's all or nothing. And no, it didn't get us anywhere to pull the 2 out this time, but you've got to do it just in case. Looking at the next one. Find your common denominator. So we bring our n plus 8 down, and then we need to add n plus 1. So the first one is missing n plus 1. Next one is missing n plus 8. n plus 1 times 2 gives me 2n plus 2. 4 times n plus 8 gives me plus 4n plus 32. 2n plus 4n is 6n. 2 plus 32 is plus 34. And it's over n plus 8 and n plus 1. These will both divide by 2, and it gives me 3n plus 17 all over n plus 8 and n plus 1. This is your answer. Got to do some factoring here. First of all, though, if you'll look, all of these divide by 5, and that makes your factoring so much easier, so please look for that. N squared plus 7n minus 8. So 5, signs are different. Largest is positive, so it's n plus something, n minus something. The factors of 8 that when I subtract give me 7 are going to be 8 and 1. If you need to list like what we did earlier, that's fine. All right, and I'm going to mark that out because I don't want to mess with that anymore. I'm going to change color so it doesn't run into that other problem also. Pull a 5 out here, and it leaves me n plus 1. And so if I look, notice that this 5 and this 5 will cancel. It's okay if you don't do that. You'll still get there. You're just going to have bigger numbers to work with. So if you can cancel, that's a good thing. Okay? So, common denominator. N plus 8, n minus 1, and 3n. So this is missing 3n. This is missing n plus 8 and n minus 1. So multiplying, you're going to get 3n squared plus 3n. Do FOIL here. We're going to have n squared minus n plus 8n minus 8, which is n squared plus 7n minus 8. If you will pay attention and think about it, be aware that it's the same thing as n squared plus 7n minus 8 we had over there. Multiply everything there by your 7n. So plus 7n to the third plus 49n squared minus 56n. So combining like terms and going and decreasing the order of n, 7n to the third plus 52n squared minus 53n all over n plus 8, n minus 1, and 3n. It looks really, really weird, but that's your answer. Common denominator, we've got our 8, and we've got our 3x plus 4. So this is missing 3x plus 4, this is missing 8. So 9x plus 12. Be careful, it is subtraction, so minus 24. So 9x minus 12 over 8 times 3x plus 4. Pull a 3 out, and so you have 3 and x minus 4. No, my bad. You have 3x minus 4 over 8 and 3x plus 4. You really want to cancel, but you can't because one's a minus and one's a plus. Last one on this page, common denominator, x minus 1 and 4. This is missing 4. This is missing x minus 1. So you have 24. Be careful, it's a minus 5x that you're distributing, so minus 5x squared plus 5x. So this would actually be negative 5x squared plus 5x minus 24 all over x minus 1 times 4. If you wanted to, and I would encourage you to, you would check and see about factoring. Looking at the back, on the first one, you need to find the factors for each of your denominators. This is going to be y minus and y minus. Factors of 10 that give you 7 are going to be 2 and 5. This is going to be y minus and also y minus. Factors of 15 that give you 8 are 3 and 5. So draw your line. Take your first denominator and write both parts down. Y minus 2, y minus 5. Take your second denominator and see y minus 3. Have you already written it down? No, you haven't, so you've got to add it. Y minus 3. Y minus 5. Have you already written it down? Yes, you have, so you do not write it again. So now you're going to compare, and looking at the first denominator compared to what you wrote. Y minus 2 is good, y minus 5 is good, but it's missing the y minus 3. So write it up top. Now compare the second one. Y minus 2 is missing, so you write it up top. Y minus 5 is good, y minus 3 is good. So you take what you wrote, multiply by what was already up there. So y minus 3 times 3y gives you 3y squared minus 9y. Be careful here because you're actually distributing a negative 2y. So that's going to give you minus 2y squared plus 4y. So combine your like terms, and 3y squared minus 2y squared is y squared. Negative 9y plus 4y is minus 5y. All over y minus 2, y minus 5, y minus 3. You need to realize that you have a y that can be pulled out at the top, so this becomes y times y minus 5. So this is gone. Y minus 5 will cancel. Your final answer is y over y minus 2 and y minus 3. I'm going to clear so I have room to write. On this next one, you need to realize that that's like a 3 over 1. It is a fraction. It's not going to affect your common denominator. You need to realize that t squared minus 4 is a difference of squares, and it becomes, I'm going to put x if that's okay, x plus 2 and x minus 2. So, common denominator. First one is a 1, don't worry about it. Then you have t plus 2, I'm going to write it as x plus 2. Then you have x plus 2, x minus 2. The x plus 2 is already there. Add your x minus 2. Compare. First one's missing everything, so it is going to be x plus 2 times x minus 2. Next one is missing x minus 2. And the last one's good, so I'm going to put a 1. Now if I did FOIL, it ought to take me back to x squared minus 4, because that's what I factored to get x plus 2, x minus 2. So it's really a 3 times x squared minus 4, which gives me 3x squared minus 12. And then we got to take our x times your x minus 2, so plus x squared minus 2x. And you got to take a negative 2 times 1, so minus 2. Combine your like terms. 3x squared plus x squared is 4x squared. minus 2x, and negative 12 minus 2 is minus 14, all over x plus 2 and x minus 2. Before you spend a lot of time factoring, I mean, it's okay if you do, but before you do, I would come in here and I would go to y equal and put the top 4x squared minus 2x minus 14. And I would go to my table. And do you see it goes from a negative to a positive and it totally skips over 0? So that means it's not going to be x plus a number or x minus a number. Okay? Same thing this way. It goes from a positive to a negative, totally skips over 0. Another thing you could see is if it were to cancel, it needs to cancel with x plus 2 or x minus 2. So go to 2 and negative 2 and see if either one of them are 0. They're not. So you could factor that if you want, but there's no reason to. Okay? Because it's not going to cancel anything. Last one, 3y plus 2 is good. Bottom of this becomes y plus and y minus. Factors of 24 that when you subtract give you 5. It's going to be 8 and 3. Bottom of the second one is going to be y plus and y minus. Factors of 32 that when you subtract give you 4 are going to be 8 and 4. Draw a line, find your common denominator. Take all of the first one and write it down. Y plus 8 and y minus 3. Second one, y plus 8 is already there. Don't write it again. Y minus 4 needs to add. Compare. First one, y plus 8 is good, y minus 3 is good. It needs y minus 4. Second one, y plus 8 is good, y minus 4 is good. It needs y minus 3. So you're basically going to FOIL or distribute over here, and y times 3y squared plus 2y minus 12y minus 8. Distribute a 7, so plus 7y minus 21. Combine your like terms. 3y squared. 2y minus 12y is negative 10y. Plus 7y is minus 3y. Negative 8 minus 21 is minus 29. All over y plus 8, y minus 3, and y minus 4. Put it in y equal before you spend a lot of time trying to factor it. You would have 3x squared minus 3x minus 29. Go to your table. It goes from a positive to a negative. It skips right over 0. Same thing here. So don't waste your time trying to factor it. Nothing's going to cancel. Last one on your notes is a repeat from the top of that page so you can go straight to your assignment. Yes, this is difficult. Yes, it's time consuming. Don't rush or you're going to make small mistakes. Call me over if you have any questions.